Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today to see this video about how to cure your trich naturally. Now, you might be wondering, who am I to be sharing this information? And I'll just give you a little background on my history with trichotillomania. I developed trichotillomania when I was 6 years old. I started pulling my eyelashes, my top eyelashes, and I did that for about 13 years. And in 2010, in November 2010, I had cured myself of trichotillomania. And I did this without any medications, without a therapist or a psychiatrist. I actually never even saw the doctor about it. It was just a decision that my parents made. I had no idea what was going on with myself. I thought it was always something that I was doing to myself and that I should be able to control it, and it made me feel very ashamed and embarrassed about it, which I'm sure any of you who are experiencing trichotillomania at this time have probably experienced some of that as well. So that's kind of a little bit about my story. If you want to hear more about my story, ask about that in the comments, and then maybe I'll make a video about that to share with all of you. But as of right now, I am currently 8 years trichotillomania free, and so I feel like I'm in a good place to be able to share a little bit about how I was able to cure myself without any supplements or medications or medical help at all. So I've taken a lot of notes to help keep me on track here. I can get a little bit distracted sometimes, so I'm just going to go through, and hopefully some of these things will be able to help you and to give you some kind of a direction on where to start, where you can start on your journey. So I'm just going to get into it. So the first thing that I think would be helpful is to determine your why. And I know that we hear this online, on the internet, on social media a lot. We see this from the gurus of different various topics, but try to determine what your why is, because the why is very much linked to emotion. And whenever you have a goal to do something, you're always going to have much better results if you can connect your goal to an emotion. So if you can really feel it, it goes deeper than just desire, than just the wanting. You have to really know why you want to reach this goal, in this case, to stop pulling, stop your trichotillomania. So it has to go deeper than just, oh, I want to look prettier, or I want to be able to wear mascara, or I want to be able to do things, wear my hair in different styles or something like that. It should go deeper than that. So that would be the first thing to consider. When you're trying to determine your why, think about how you're feeling now. Think about the way that you want to change how you feel right now, maybe situations that are happening in your environment. Maybe you encounter judgmental people a lot and that doesn't make you feel very good, or maybe you yourself don't feel very good about what you are doing, and so you want to change that right now, but try and link it to the future as well. Think about the long term. Think about what you want yourself to look like in the future, and if trichotillomania is a part of that. Do you see that in your future or not? Another good thing to do when you're thinking about your why is to kind of lay out your values. Look at the things that are important to you. I know this might be kind of silly, but I always imagined having eyelashes on my wedding day. That's just something that I always dreamed about a long time ago. When I didn't have eyelashes, I would, I would say, oh, I hope I have eyelashes for my wedding, on my wedding day, because when I look back at those pictures, I just want to have good memories of that day, and I want to feel good about, who I am in those pictures, and that sort of thing. So if you have to, think about something that you envision for your future, and try and link it with that. Okay, so the second thing that I have is to get educated. This might be a no-brainer for some of you. Some of you might already know what trichotillomania is, but some of you, might not, and that was my case. I really had no idea what trichotillomania was until like 2 years before I cured myself. So for the majority of my journey with trichotillomania, I had no idea what it was. I always knew that there was something wrong. That's all I knew, was that there was something wrong with pulling. I didn't know if that was something wrong with me, or, that's what I thought. I thought there was something wrong with me. And so it really left me feeling very defenseless. If I would get attacked at school, for example, by someone who didn't understand what it was, and even I couldn't understand what it was either. So it was difficult for me to defend myself, or to at least explain, or try to explain to that person why I didn't have eyelashes, and try to correct them if they made a false assumption about me. So I just want to say that having knowledge, being educated, that is power. Knowledge is power. It's true. So I would say, if you had a solid definition of what trichotillomania means to you, if you wrote out a definition, what trichotillomania means to me, write it out in your own words, how you would explain it to somebody else, how you would want that person to try to be able to understand it from your point of view. I think that would really help, because then you would feel empowered when somebody asks you, why don't you have trichotillomania, or why do you have trichotillomania? Why do you have bald spots or bald patches? Why do you pull your hair out? Doesn't that hurt? Then you would have something to say to them. Now, whether this person is asking these questions out of malintent, poor intentions, or whether they're just simply curious, it will help you in either scenario. For example, if you are, at school, and somebody comes up to you and they ask you not a very nice question, or they say a nasty comment about it, then you'll be able to say, oh, well, I have trichotillomania, and you'll be able to explain what it is, and maybe that will, shut them up, so to speak. It'll kind of shock them in a way, maybe, that you are so prepared on how you want to respond to them, and that gives you power. I hope that will try and help to erase any shame that you might feel from that situation, because I know whenever that happened to me, I just felt so much shame and just utter embarrassment, and like frustration and hurt. So if you can go into those situations with power, I think that's really going to help. So the third thing that I have is to make a specific goal for yourself. So we all want to stop trich, of course. We all want to stop pulling. We all have these dreams of just having long, beautiful hair, or long, beautiful eyelashes. But you have to get really specific. And by specific, I mean possibly picking a date, a specific date that you want to see progress with your trich. I don't mean picking a date and saying, I'm not going to pull from this date to this date. I mean picking a date and say, I want to see some hair growth by this date. Because in my opinion, if you limit yourself to cold turkey, no pulling from this date to this date, I think it's just going to work against you subconsciously, because you're going to say, oh, I'm not supposed to pull, and that might make you want to pull more. And it'll also kind of, it's less forgiving that way. But I think if you say that you want to just see some hair growth, you want to see some progress, some hair growth by this time next year, or by 3 months time, by your birthday, things like that, then if you do pull in between, you won't beat yourself up about it so much, because we have to be very gentle and forgiving with ourselves in this process. That's the only way it's going to work, is if you're forgiving, if you're able to forgive yourself, because then you just pick up the next day, clean slate, no pulling, take it day by day. That's all you can do for yourself, is take it day by day. So pick a specific date that you want to see progress by. So that's my tip number 3. That's step number 3. So number 4, I have, we really want to try and replace this pulling ritual with self-love rituals. I know that might sound cliche, but it's true. A lot of us might not know why we pull. That was my case. I really had no idea why I started pulling, because I was so young at the time. So it's like when you're a child, you shouldn't be stressed. You shouldn't have so much anxiety. You're just being a kid. You're playing. You're doing a lot of things that normal kids do. But I know a lot of people associate trich with anxiety and stress and trauma, possibly, and those sort of things. Having a self-care ritual would really try and retrain your brain to take care of yourself instead of self-destructing. We use pulling as a mechanism to distract ourselves or to calm ourselves down, because of some subconscious or conscious stress or anxiety that we might be experiencing. But I think that when we start taking care of ourselves, when we start making those conscious decisions to take care of ourselves, however big or small those might be, subconsciously we find that we want to start taking care of ourselves anyway. Once we start doing those little things for ourselves, it starts snowballing, and then we just want to do more of those good things for ourselves. So trying to find a ritual, trying to set up a routine would be really good, just for the mind and for the body, for the mind, the body, and hopefully that would help to condition your subconscious to want to start taking care of yourself. And then we might find that we don't want to pull as much, or we find that we don't pull as much. Okay, so that would be number 4, would be some kind of a self-care ritual, some kind of a self-care routine. So some examples of this might just be taking 10 extra minutes in the morning to enjoy your morning coffee or tea, just to look out the window, watch the sunrise peacefully. It could be taking walks outside weekly, trying to immerse yourself in nature, because that really helps us to connect with ourselves, is to be in nature. It could be reading every night before bed. I know that's something that a lot of people do to calm themselves down. Even I do that. It might even be something a little bit different. No, not a lot of people really think about this, but just allowing yourself to feel emotions, to get emotional. That is a form of self-care, is to just be with yourself. Let yourself feel ashamed. Let yourself feel embarrassed. Let yourself feel frustrated. Get those emotions out, because once those emotions have passed, you're able to kind of take a step back from the situation and say, okay, why was I feeling this way? Why was I feeling ashamed or frustrated or sad or angry, or these kinds of emotions, right? So being able to do that would be a really good addition to a self-care routine or a self-care ritual. All right, so number 5 I put was incorporating mindfulness into that routine. I know mindfulness is also coming up a lot these days. Mindfulness, self-love, gratitude, finding your why, but it's because we're finding patterns in happiness when we're able to be mindful, when we're able to take care of ourselves and feel grateful for the things that we have in life. We're able to find our happiness. And this is still true for things like trichotillomania. When we're mindful, we're able to come out of our subconscious and into the present. We're able to bring ourselves into the present moment and be more conscious of, what we're doing right now. So I know a lot of pulling is subconscious. Many of us don't even realize that we are pulling as we're doing it. I know that was for my case. I would be laying in my bed at night thinking or worrying about the things that were going to happen the next day, or thinking about my past, or thinking about, I was always thinking about the past or the future, and I wasn't really thinking about right now, this moment. And so being able to be present in this moment, then you're going to be able to realize, oh, I'm pulling now. What am I going to do about this? Well, I think I'm going to put my hands like this, right? Maybe you're able to have a conversation with yourself. You're able to talk yourself through it. You're able to do things to help stop yourself from pulling in that moment. And so that's going to be really helpful. That's one of the biggest things that helped me to stop, was every night I made sure that I was very present as I was falling asleep. I made sure that I was only thinking about that moment. And if I ended up thinking about something else for a few minutes and I pulled a little bit, that was okay. I didn't beat myself up about it. I just said, okay, I pulled a little bit now, but tomorrow is going to be a new day. And so that's how I treated it. So just being able to be mindful is really going to help. Now, there are 2 things that I suggest about how you can be mindful, and that is to meditate. I know some of you might be saying, oh, I have no idea how to meditate. I've never meditated before. I can't concentrate when I meditate. Maybe all these things are going through your head. The good news is that you don't have to concentrate on anything when you meditate. That's not the point of meditation. The point of meditation is to be aware of your thoughts. Just awareness, really, is to just be aware of any thoughts that are coming into your mind. And if you want to, you can direct these thoughts in any certain direction that you want. But it's really just about awareness. And it doesn't have to be for 30 minutes a day. It can be for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. But even just setting up some kind of a meditation practice of just 5 minutes a day, I think, is really going to help, especially during the times of day where you find that you pull the most. For me, I never really pulled during the day unless I was alone. I only pulled alone. I never pulled around other people. I only pulled either in my room or at night in my bed when I was falling asleep. So those were the times where I made sure that I was trying to be more mindful of what I was doing. The second thing that I have to help you become more mindful is to start a journal. It could be a journal that you dedicate just to your trick journey, so to speak. You could journal every morning and every night, or every afternoon after school, or whatever time works best for you. But journaling about what happened during the day, or about how you feel when you pull, or before, during, and after you pull, or any notes that you have about your life at this moment, is really going to give you insight on possible triggers, on the times of day that you pull. It's just really going to make you more aware of your actions and your thoughts and how you're feeling today, and maybe your desires for the future, things that you want to try to focus on for the future. I think that could really help. So meditation and starting some kind of trick journal, or diary or something like that. Okay. So the last thing that I have is, as I kind of said before, is to just be patient with this process. I don't want to say that you're going to relapse. I haven't relapsed for 8 years, so it's possible to stop completely. It took me 2 months to cure myself from the time that I said, okay, I'm going to stop, I want to stop, to the moment where I had a full set of lashes. They weren't at their full length in 2 months, but they were all growing in. So it took me 2 months to do that. In between that time, I did pull here and there a couple of nights, but as I said, okay, this is fine. I wasn't, I wasn't like patting myself on the back or anything, but I accepted it and I moved forward. And that's what you should do. So if you make a mistake, if you have a pulling session, just accept it and move forward. Accept it as, this is today, and tomorrow I'm going to do better. Okay, or tomorrow is a new day, it's a new start. So just keep moving forward. That's the only thing that you can do. So be patient, be gentle with yourself. If you do have a relapse, be gentle. Don't, if you start to feel ashamed that you pulled, then accept that shame. Say, okay, I'm feeling embarrassed right now. I'm feeling ashamed. Why did I do this? Look back on your goals. Give yourself some more motivation to keep going, to move forward. Look back on what you wrote down at the beginning when you decided that you wanted to stop, and stick to that. Just remind yourself why you're doing it. Remind yourself of your why, and move forward. Yeah, so I think that covers it. I wrote down so much more, but I'm going to make more videos too, so I'm going to cover more of that stuff in future videos. But this was just a precursor to all that. This is just to hopefully get you started on the track to healing yourself naturally, because you can do it. If I can do it, you certainly can. Yeah, and I watched this video about trichotillomania recently. I can't remember where I saw this saying, but it's really true. The saying was, trichotillomania isn't the problem. Trichotillomania is the messenger. So that means that the problem that you need to in order to get better, the problem that you need to fix, the problem that you need to, work out isn't the trichotillomania. The trichotillomania is a symptom, so to speak, of something deeper that's happening inside of you. And so things like meditation and self-love and keeping a journal and doing all of those things is going to help you to bring that to the surface. You're going to learn so much about yourself in this process. And that is what's going to help you to ultimately cure your trick, is figuring out, what is going on within you that is, causing you to have this compulsive behavior. All right. Anyway, I think that about wraps up everything that I wanted to share in this video. If you have questions for me or anything like that, please let me know in the comments or send me a message. I would be happy to try and help you in any way that I can. Good luck on your journey, and I'll be seeing you again very soon.